rich CEOs, steamy romances, stereotypical revenge plots, and over-the-top acting. You know the types of videos I'm referring to? These all belong to a new type of entertainment called a microdrama. Fast-paced soap operas that are packed into 1 to 2 minute vertical episodes. Yes, they're ridiculous, yes, they're cheesy, yet somehow they're everywhere. Today, we are gonna be diving into the fascinating world of the microdrama. Greetings, professors. So I think my social media has always been slightly confused about who I am, probably because I'm always searching up the weirdest topics for my videos. One moment I might seem like a pervert, and other times mostly I just seem like a pervert. But it seems Instagram has recently clocked that I am in fact a typical woman in my 20s because I've suddenly been flooded with so many microdrama ads like these.
You fucking bitch! You're 38 seconds late.
It's bad enough you're trying so hard to look like me. At least you could be a decent maid.
What is going on here?
And I'm slightly embarrassed to say that I eventually caved. Yeah, I know. The thing is, seeing that main character get bullied by a bunch of bitchy mean girls just bothered me so much that I had to watch her marry that billionaire CEO and get her revenge. It was like an itch I needed to scratch. So although I knew that the plot was going to be brain rot and the acting was going to be cringe, I still found myself downloading Drama Wave and buying that weekly pass just so I could finish the series. Spoiler alert, the ending was just as bad as I predicted it to be. But before you judge me, just know that I'm far from the only one. In fact, many of these microdramas are now getting hundreds of millions of views, surpassing even the biggest blockbuster hit. And they're not just popular in Asia, they're also going viral overseas, with microdrama apps now registering over 300 million active users in just the US alone. So I just know some of you guys are secretly watching it too. Now, of course, all of this raises a few questions. Where did all these microdramas come from? Who is actually producing them? And if they're so cringy, then why are so many people addicted to them? But before we get into that, I wanted to answer a much simpler question that I always get on my channel. Where do you get your outfits from? Well, one of my favorite places to shop is definitely the sponsor of today's video, Fashion Chingu. Fashion Chingu is the go-to online store for recreating all your favorite K-pop and K-drama outfits on a budget. So let me show you how it works. Now, if you head to the Fashion Chingu website, you'll see that their clothes are actually organized into different collections based on the artist. So for instance, they have the Cat's Eye collection, the 80s collection, the BabyMonster collection, etc. And they also have this really cool feature where you can hover your mouse above the product to see when it was worn by the idol. So currently, some of you may have noticed that I have on this really adorable beanie that was actually worn by Felix from Stray Kids. And since it's starting to get cold here, I also got quite a few other outfits from Fashion Chingu to stay warm this winter. My favorites are definitely this denim jacket that was worn by Eunchae from the Sserafim, these camel jeans that were worn by Asa from BabyMonster, and this really warm and furry jacket that was worn by Jisung from Stray Kids. And look, it even comes with the bear ears. How cute is that? The best part is, Fashion Chingu is currently having a Black Week sale from November 24th to 29th, where everything on their store is 25% off. And you can even use my exclusive discount code PLOOPY to get an additional 5% discount on top of that. So if you're planning to get a Christmas present for your family, your friends, or even yourself, no judgment there, then be sure to head to Fashion Chingu ASAP to make the best out of this amazing sale. Links to Fashion Chingu as well as all of the items I wore will be in the description below, and huge thanks once again to Fashion Chingu for sponsoring this video. So the rise of microdramas all started with the Chinese app called Kuaishou. Kuaishou is basically kind of similar to TikTok or Douyin, except back in 2022, it was actually the most popular short-form video platform in Brazil of all places. At the time, many Brazilian content creators were actually going viral creating what we call novella-style content, which are dramatic skits told through multiple Kuaishou videos. So here we have some videos created by Markelly Oliveira, era, she had 13 million followers and she was actually one of the biggest Brazilian novella creators out there. And just looking at her content, you can already kind of see the makings of a typical microdrama. Oh, what's going on?
여보, não vou perder esse reunião não. Tchau, tchau. Tá tudo bem?
Tá. Tudo bem, amor.
Oh, are they gonna get caught?
Eu já disse que não dá pra você.
Okay, I guess he's like upset and he's being rude because she cheated.
A few moments later.
Pode entrar. Isso é ridículo.
Você vai ver com seus próprios olhos.
I wonder what's going on.
Opa, senhor, não se preocupe não. Pode se acomodar.
Oh no, wait. He's cheating too?
Saudade, meu amor.
Eventually, Chinese companies noticed the popularity of these novellas, and soon dedicated platforms like Drama Box and Real Short started popping up. Unlike Kuaishou, these apps actually created their own microdramas in-house. They would hire their own production team, actors, screenwriters, and yeah, that was basically how the genre of microdramas was born. Since then, other countries such as Korea, India, and Singapore have also created their own microdrama apps, and many of the dramas featured on there would contain some local elements or they would try to appeal to their own local audience. But the most interesting ones are definitely the Korean microdramas because there's so many what I can only describe as singles inferno style thirst trap dramas. And what I mean by that is they're like basically fake K-reality dating shows where the cast would make out every 2 seconds.
사랑이냐 돈이냐 로맨틱 아일랜드에 오신 커플 여러분 환영합니다. 상금 19억을 차지하는 방법은 내 애인 말고 다른 사람과의 하룻밤.
On the other hand, platforms such as Flick Reels have attempted to appeal to an older demographic by creating what they call silver hair dramas, with titles such as Love at 50, From Janitor to Billionaire's Wife. But regardless of country or what app they're from, all of these microdramas pretty much follow the same few generic formats. First off, you've got the Romeo and Juliet trope, a tragic tale of star-crossed lovers from enemy families.
陆学长，是你爸妈出卖了世界，害得我爸心脏病突发去世的。
可是他们已经出车祸变成植物人了，你还想怎么样？
父债子偿。
Then you've got the family feud trope, where an adopted daughter is bullied by her entire adoptive family until she either marries rich or sacrifices herself to prove them wrong. So what happened here is that this girl's adoptive family suddenly turned against her after they found their biological daughter. And so she decides to disappear by freezing herself for 30 years.
有可能永远也醒不过来。你既然不想做我们陆家人，那就永远不要再回来。
祝你们一家。
Yes, that's just her entering the freezing pod. And most common of all, the poor girl turned billionaire wife storyline, where the protagonist, usually some sort of laborer or janitor, gets mistreated by a rich, mean antagonist who's betrothed to a billionaire, only for said billionaire to walk past and oh my god, shocked Pikachu face, he falls head over heels for the protagonist. Of course, sometimes the context surrounding the stories might be slightly different. For instance, some may take place in a historical setting, while others may involve vampires or other magical creatures. Depending on who the target audience is, there may also be the occasional reversal in roles, such as in the case of those silver-haired dramas, where instead of an evil mother-in-law being the antagonist, it's the daughter-in-law that's the problem. But in general, you guys get the gist. All of these stories are pretty much the same. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. In fact, sometimes I mean that literally. Because remember that storyline from earlier about the adopted girl who freezes herself for 30 years? Yeah, I swear I've seen about 10 versions of that exact same microdrama. Like literally same script and everything.
You sleep in that pod for 30 years straight. You might never wake up.
Never wake up. Are you sure?
Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this?
Are you sure?
I'm certain. I'm sure.
But okay, if microdramas are also predictable and repetitive, then why are they so popular?
沈一梅，你别太过分。
Besides the obvious answers, such as the fact that our attention spans are shorter now, I think that the biggest reason for their popularity is actually because these storylines serve as perfect self-insert fantasies for the audience. Let's take the revenge storylines for instance. Have you ever been mistreated by someone and then after the fact you keep replaying the incident in your head and scripting out all the things you could have said? Yeah, that happens to me all the time, and I'm sure many of you can also relate. After all, everyone experiences betrayal or abandonment at some point in our lives, yet rarely are we able to do anything about it in the moment. And that's where these microdramas come in, as they give us the satisfaction of taking revenge vicariously through the protagonist. Are you a teenager struggling with bullying at school? If so, then Taming My Bullies would be perfect for you. If you're a wife who's being cheated on, then you could go for something like The Wife's Revenge. And if you're an estranged mom or disappointed Asian parent, then perhaps you could get some hope from the drama Dumped by Son, Spoiled by Grandson. Point is, with tens of thousands of microdramas out there, there's bound to be at least one that relates to your current circumstance. On the other hand, there are also some microdramas that satisfy love triangle fantasies or 18+ fantasies that may be considered too cringy or taboo for mainstream TV. And I guess these types of dramas basically have the same sort of appeal as, let's say, a spicy fanfiction. And the thing is, as much as we might shit on microdramas for these simplistic storylines and characters, that's actually the very thing that makes them such effective self-insert material. As compared to traditionally well-written characters who are supposed to have their own unique personality quirks and motivations, microdrama characters are the complete opposite on purpose. They're meant to be as generic as possible so that they can serve as blank canvases for anyone to project themselves onto. And similarly, the storylines are also meant to be as bare bones as possible, just enough to serve as a framework for your fantasy, but never specific enough to alienate anyone. And then to top it all off, these platforms will hook you in by letting you watch the first 10 or so episodes for free. This is when they'll pile on all the bullying, the humiliation, the unfair circumstances, all to get you as hot and bothered as possible. And then right when you're about to get the satisfaction of seeing the protagonist seek her revenge, that's when they hit you with the dreaded paywall. As you can see, there is actually genius behind this brainrot content, but the genius doesn't just stop at the screenwriting. Perhaps what's even more interesting are the insane production methods used to mass produce these endless streams of repetitive dramas. In case it isn't already obvious, microdramas are kinda like the Shein of the entertainment industry. Cheap, low effort, and fast production. In fact, microdrama apps typically aim to pump out 8 to 10 dramas a month. I can't even do that for my YouTube videos. As compared to a normal TV series that takes 1 to 2 years to produce, a microdrama typically only has a total production time of less than 2 months. And as for the shooting time, well, actors only have less than a week to shoot all their scenes. So how do they manage all of this? This is where we need to talk about the microdrama studio industry, because in China, the government has allegedly converted multiple abandoned facilities across the country into large-scale rental studios that provide everything from filming sets to accommodation for cast and crew.
This place was once a COVID quarantine facility transformed with government approval.
Okay.
It now houses 200 different sets.
Oh wow, a courtroom.
From a courthouse to the metro
There we go, and it moves.
From an operating theatre to an aeroplane.
It's exactly the music that Air China uses.
Yes.
Right.
That's actually so smart, because then they don't have to build new sets for every single drama. Here I've got a really good video by this creator called Almost Sally, where she tours one of these microdrama studios, and you're showing us the warehouse. Wow.
对，都是园区的。然后道具库呢就在我们对面，这里有个800多平的道具库。
So they basically have everything that you would need. Now, of course, these microdrama studios definitely help reduce production times, but overall, things are still really rushed. Work hours are long, with actors often having to film over 50 scenes in a day, and the pay also isn't very high. Top-tier microdrama actors can expect salaries of around $2,000 to $3,000 a day, while mid-range actors make around $150 a day, and the extras, well, they only make $1 to $2 an hour.
Tragic.
As you may expect, these sorts of work conditions don't exactly attract top-tier cast and crew.
No, Mother! No, please! Why should I be the one to marry him?
Indeed, the requirements for becoming a microdrama actor are almost non-existent. With the mass production of so many dramas every month, there's almost an endless demand for talent. So much so that production companies are even willing to hire people with zero experience. This can of course be a great part-time job, especially for acting students who can use these low-stakes acting gigs as a way to gain some experience. And many elderly people in China have also used microdrama acting as a way to fulfill their childhood dreams of becoming a star.
Zhu Jian hopes his story will follow the sort of Cinderella-style rags-to-riches path laid out in the very microdramas that employ him. He's a former railway employee who now lives off his pension and occasional acting gigs.
However, because so many microdrama actors lack experience in the industry and are not represented by agencies, they're also especially vulnerable to exploitation. A recent news report highlighted how some microdrama actors weren't even offered contracts before starting work, which made it difficult for them to take legal action when their work hours were suddenly extended or when they didn't receive their promised pay. Additionally, the low barrier to entry has also caused microdrama acting to develop quite the reputation, with many audiences and people in the entertainment industry still looking down on microdrama acting as being lesser than traditional acting. Now, this isn't completely unfounded, but obviously it doesn't apply to every single microdrama actor out there, especially because many of them are actually professional actors, idols, and trainees who've had no choice but to rely on microdrama acting to pay their bills. In fact, I actually recognized quite a few ex-K-pop idols on those raunchy single Inferno remakes that I mentioned earlier. And while I'm sure some work is better than no work, it sucks to know that these entertainers may end up getting stuck in the microdrama genre forever. That being said though, things are slowly changing. As the microdrama industry expands, quite a few actors have actually managed to amass pretty large fan bases. Some examples include the queen of short dramas, Li Keyi, whose series have gained over 1 billion views in total, as well as Zhao Kechun, who went viral after he starred in popular microdramas such as What a Good Girl. Additionally, directors such as Cheng Qingjie and Zhizhu have also gained widespread recognition for their cinematography and have even managed to successfully transition into high-budget dramas. On the other hand, mainstream actors and production studios are also starting to take more of an interest in microdramas.
Ji Dingdong is a producer who used to work in traditional film, but he says this is the future, an innovation to match the age.
When you watch verticals, you can easily binge 5 or 6 episodes on the subway, right? And let's face it, you're barely halfway through a normal TV episode before you reach your stop. So with everyone's busy lives and work pressures, scrolling through verticals at a fast pace is actually pretty stress relieving.
In fact, the studio that created one of my favorite K-dramas, Extraordinary Attorney Woo Young-woo, she's so cute. But yeah, they actually announced that they're currently already working on a new microdrama. So could the age of cheesy, low-budget microdramas finally be coming to an end? Personally, I think it's just a matter of time before that happens, but I'm not gonna lie, I will definitely miss the era of microdramas that we have now. I guess they just kind of remind me of Darman videos or those Hallmark Christmas movies where it is cringy, but it's also kind of funny and easy to watch, so it definitely has its own charms. but those are just my opinions. I'm interested to know what you guys think. So be sure to let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, then I'd really appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe. As always, all my research notes for this video will be on Patreon. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Thank you for watching, and special thanks to my Patreon members for supporting my channel. If you'd like to watch reaction videos and other bonus content, then be sure to check that out on my Patreon.